Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you how to make some delicious caramel cheesecake, apple bars, whatever you want to call them. I've been seeing a recipe, several recipes floating around the internet these days, and someone DM'd me with a photo that said, can you just make something like this? And I was like, oh, yes, your wish. My command. So I am here to show you how to make these. They are so fantastic, perfect for this time of year. And let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make the base first. For that, all you need is flour, salt, both granulated sugar and brown sugar, and some butter. That's it, because butter makes it all better. I've got my oven preheated to 350. I have a 9 by 13 inch pan that I sprayed with a little bit of nonstick spray. Make sure you choose a pan that you like. See how this one's a real pretty one? I have others that are really well loved, but since I'm going to be serving my dessert straight from the pan because it's just much easier, choose a pan that you like. All right. In my standing mixer, fitted with a paddle attachment. Can you tell I'm excited? It's like the fall, and it's like bake season, like baking season. It's just like the best time of year. So I'm extra giddy. I'm going to add some butter. Make sure it's softened at room temp. And with that butter, I'm going to add both kinds of sugar, and I'm going to cream them together really well until, well, just until they're combined really well. Ain't much else to say. Lower. Make sure you give everything a good scraperoo from around the edges. I just like to always do that because, especially since this mixer is a little bit bigger than my standard one, than my other one that I have, it's always good to do that just to make sure nothing gets left behind. Now I'm going to add the salt and the flour, and all I'm going to do is just mix until it's incorporated. That's it. Real simple. Get all that. It's okay. Didn't lose too much flour. All right. Pick it back up and just mix it in. That looks fantastic. Okay. Oh, it's perfect. It's not too sticky. Still a little bit crumbly. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all out of here into my prepared pan, and I am going to press it. I'm just going to use my hands. I'm just going to press it in my pan. Just make sure everything's nice and even. That looks great. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just pop this into my oven at 350 for about 10 to 15 minutes or until it just begins to lightly brown. And in the meantime, we'll make the cheesecake filling and then the apples, and then everything can kind of go together once this baby comes out. All right, so while the crust is still in the oven for a few more minutes, we're going to work on all of the filling, which there are a few parts of this, so we're going to move through it quickly. In the same bowl, with the paddle attachment, didn't even wash it out because there's a lot of good flavor in here from the cookie crust. There's not a lot anyway, so I'm going to add in the cream cheese, and I'm going to give the cream cheese a heads up by just giving it a nice mix until it's really creamy. I don't want any lumps and bumps of cream cheese anywhere. I just want it to be really smooth. That is lovely, and just make sure that your cream cheese is softened at room temperature because otherwise it's not going to mix very well. And then you need some sugar. And then you need a couple of eggs and a good splash of the best vanilla extract you can get your hands on, or preferably homemade, because it's pretty incredible with all those vanilla beans. And now I'm just going to let this go until it's really creamy, and then I'm going to bring everything else forward and the crust, and we'll start building these magical bars. Let's set that aside and let's work on the rest of the filling and topping situation. For the apples, you need some diced apples. I'm using McIntosh, but any tart apple will do. Sugar and cinnamon. That's all you need. You could use pumpkin pie spice here if you wanted to. I just like straight up cinnamon with my apples. That's just my preference, so that's what I'm using. But either will be just fall and festive and just gloriously delish. For the topping, what I've got is old-fashioned oats, flour, a little bit of brown sugar, baking powder. I also have a pinch of salt under here, and some cold butter. Now I'm just going to use my pastry cutter to just cut the butter into, and a little bit of cinnamon as well. I don't know if I mentioned that. And I'm just going to cut the butter into my dry mixture, giving it a little help along the way. Pour your cheesecake filling in. make a nice even layer of that. And it smells already divine. So could you imagine when it's all done and we just drizzle it with some caramel sauce? Oh, it's going to be really incredible. And now it's a little tiny bit lumpy from the cream cheese. It's fine. It's just because it didn't incorporate perfectly, but we'll live. And then you just take your apples with a little bit of cinnamon and the sugar. You see where this is heading? I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. Just you wait. And this is a great thing to make ahead of time because it does need to set in the fridge for a few hours once it comes out of the oven. So just keep that in mind. It's not something you want to make last minute because you kind of can't cut into it until everything sets for a minimum of about 3 hours or 4 hours. And then you just take your topping and you just cover the top like so. And now everything goes into the oven for about, I would say, half an hour. I'll show you what it looks like when it is out and it's cooled, because like I said, I'm going to let it come to room temperature and then I'm going to stick it into the freezer, into the fridge for several hours. So my bars were into the oven for 30 minutes. They came out, I let them cool to room temperature, and then I popped them in the fridge for about 3 hours. Now I cut some out because I want you to see what the inside looks like, but if you want to serve them right out of the pan, just go ahead and cut them into your squares and then drizzle them with your favorite caramel sauce. It could be homemade or store-bought, the choice is yours. I've got some here that I already had on hand in the fridge, and you just warm it up a little bit in the microwave just to loosen it. And most of the time, I just serve them right out of the pan, just because it makes life for a lot easier. But if I'm just going to serve a few, just cut them out and serve with your caramel, fresh, warm, just sticky and delicious and just out of this world. I'm not going to touch that one because these are for guests that I've got already waiting on these. And I really do. You know me. Follow me on Instagram, by the way. That way you get to see whenever I serve these delicious treats at the dinner table. But now I'm gonna get this little guy right here. A little bit of caramel, yes. Look at that, beautiful crust. Just that cream cheese cheesecake center there. Oh my word. Yeah. That is heaven in a bite. Tastes like a cheesecake, it really does, meets apple crisp. That's the best way to describe it. No words to describe how good this is unless you just make it and try it. Go to laurainthekitchen.com, get the recipe. You will love them so much. I promise. I never let you down, especially when it comes to indulging desserts, because that's just what I do. Like I said, laurainthekitchen.com's got the recipe. Hope you enjoyed spending time with me. I gotta go. Bye.